Hi guys, welcome to the Wishup podcast where we talk about startups, small businesses, entrepreneurship, and remote work. Before we get started with the episode, let me quickly tell you about Wishup. Wishup provides a remote workforce that can help you with your business, whether you're an entrepreneur, influencer, startup, or an established organization. Wishup provides only the top 1% remote workforce, such as virtual assistants, software testers, and bookkeeping assistants, who are all pre vetted and trained in house. To know more about our service, you can click the link in the description below. Now, let's enjoy the episode. So, hi, Lidia. Good afternoon, and welcome to the Wishup podcast. It is great to have you on this episode with us.
Hello, it's great to be here. I've heard your company is growing like crazy.
Thank you so much for that. And yes, it is. Virtual assistants are very much in demand from companies in America and in UK as well. So yes, we are doing well, thankfully.
That is awesome.
Thank you. So Lydia, let's get right into it. So to begin with, could you start off by telling us a bit about yourself and your experience in the SEO industry?
Absolutely. So my name is Lidian Infante. I've been working in the SEO industry for 9 years now, I think. It's going to be 9 years in August, I believe. And
wow, that's a long time.
This is very long. I'm too old now. Yeah, I actually started in my 20s. I started by creating a women's rights magazine. But since then, I've been working in-house, mainly for SaaS companies and B2B. I've been working agency side and with publishers. And it's been an absolute blast seeing this industry grow like it has.
It has, right? I mean, and it keeps changing as well. Like there are new updates coming up every 6 months. So it's really hard to actually keep track of what's going on. So, I mean, how do you manage to stay on top of all the latest trends and news and the updates?
So I do a combination of following the right people on Twitter and being subscribed to the right SEO newsletters. So there's one that for me is like indispensable. It's SEO FOMO by Leda Solis. It's super easy to find because it must be like the biggest in the industry, but it is just indispensable. She connects you to the right people on Twitter. She shares a section on official Google News, a section on SEO news, a free tool every week or more. Sometimes there's more than one. People to follow, and then general marketing content. So it is really, really, really amazing.
Yeah, I mean, Twitter threads are doing really well these days. And yes, they are very helpful. In fact, even we at Wishup have applied a couple of Twitter thread strategies for our business. And we've seen the results really well and really quickly. So yes, I do agree with you on that. It really works very well.
That is awesome. But yeah, it is like incredibly difficult to keep up to date with the SEO industry. In fact, there was an estimation. I've got the source somewhere in my website that there was 100 updates in 2021 to the algorithm.
Wow.
Because it's not always the major update that right now, I would say it comes every quarter. There's small tweaks to the algorithm.
All right. So, Lydia, when you talk of SEO, it's like really huge. You know, there are so many different aspects to it, like technical SEO, on page, off page, and the list goes on. So, which parts would you say you specialized in, or are you like all over the, all board?
So, I would say if I had to divide SEO in parts, it would be content, authority, and technical. There's going to be depending on the niche that you're on, you might have like local SEO to worry about, or you might have specifics from e-commerce SEO that you have to worry about. If you're in a highly regulated market, you better have a good project manager in your team, because otherwise your content's not going anywhere. But if I had to summarize it, it would be these three parts, right? So we've got technical SEO, which is there to help users enjoy your pages, but also to help search engines understand your pages, access your pages, index them, render them correctly, and so on, so on. So on the technical SEO side of things, we've got web performance optimization, we've got UX, and we've got role management, indexation management, technical SEO hygiene, right? And that's what enables users and search engines to actually go and read your content. But it is the content that's king, right? So in marketing, content is king, something that we've repeated for the last 10 years.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I think that's what it means. It's the content that's there to satisfy user intent, and it's the content that users are going to engage with, read, convert on. So when it comes to content, there are some people doing amazing work when it comes to NTTs, topic SEO. I really think most companies just need a basic, good content strategy delivered. So what are your topics? Why do you care about this? Why does your audience care about this? And just cover them comprehensively with expert authors. Then you've got the link side of things, which is huge. And it's boomed into the digital PR industry, which is how do we make sure that we put our company in front of the right audience by pitching the right stories to the right publications. And then those publications, if they're very nice, they send links back to our website and our content gets to rank better. But regardless, technical and links are working for content to gain visibility.
Absolutely, yeah. And SEO is such a huge part of marketing, which brings me to my next question. So as compared to other marketing endeavors, like how important is it, in your opinion, for a startup, especially since many of our clients are startups, to focus on SEO as compared to, say, social media marketing or PR or influencer marketing and so on?
It depends on every startup, but I think every startup should take a look at SEO, not necessarily as a let's work and invest on SEO, but let's make sure we're not making the wrong SEO decisions that are going to hinder our growth in the long term, right? So when you're building your website, when you're choosing your domain, when you're choosing your TLD, your domain, the .com or .es or
name,
whatever, I forgot the name for a second. When you're doing all of that, you need to make sure that you're not making the wrong choice in terms of SEO, right? So you need to be a little bit mindful at the very beginning. And how relevant it's going to be for you, it depends, right? It depends on the startup and it depends on the model. If you're trying to prove scalability, definitely focus on SEO before you focus on PPC. Definitely focus on organic channels before you focus on paid channels, because that's where the scalability is, right? Growing your list of email marketing subscribers is something that can prove that you own all of those contacts and you can nurture them and getting in touch regularly. Paying for clicks on social is not going to have that same effect. So I do think that startups that want to sell or get financing should focus on proving scale. Startups that are trying to, be profitable in the now, which is almost none, they should probably combine those efforts.
Absolutely. So it's a very interesting thing you spoke about, the domain name. They should be careful of the domain name, right? And I think that's very important. So maybe you could name one or two things that entrepreneurs should keep in mind when selecting a domain name for his business.
Yeah. So a very big thing I would say is your company global? As in, are you going to serve the whole world on a .com or one of those special domains like .io? Or is your company going to internationalize on specific country-level domains, right? Because if you're trying to specialize on country-level domains and you're in a very high-authority niche, you would want to start with a .com. Wait, not really. You would want to not specialize with those country-level domains. You want to do a .com and then use folders. If you are trying to... If you're addressing a market that's very particular in each of their audience is approaching your product very differently in each market, then yes, you're probably better off with a country level domain. I would also say try to pick domain names that are not going to be offensive in any language or sound stupid in any language, just in case you're trying to grow. You don't want to be the case study in a marketing masters where people go haha, and this person called themselves poop in Norwegian. You don't want to be that example.
I'm sure it's happened a few times in the past as well.
Yes. So there was this company that made a They made a car and they named it Wanker in Spanish.
Oh, are you serious?
Yes. This is 100% true. I think it was like Honda or something like that. And
Okay.
yeah, they made a car and named it Wanker, and then they had to rename it when they launched in Spain, right? If you were trying to do some brand recognition or communicate your product to your market in a more
Yeah.
sophisticated way consistently across your territories, you'd be not in the best position after making that naming choice, right? So just
Absolutely.
take a look at the word.
Yeah. Absolutely agree with you over there. So could you tell us how does an entrepreneur go about building an SEO strategy for their business? And mainly let's talk about startups here because majority of our clients at Wishup are startups. So what are the points to consider and how and what should one look out for when getting started?
That is a very good question. I would say the very first thing is, what are you trying to get out of SEO? Are you trying to get direct revenue? Are you trying to leverage SEO to nurture the top of your funnel, right? So if you're in SaaS, which I would say at this point is a little bit my specialty, you're going to want to create lots of content around top of the funnel and brand recognition and helping your users before you even try to sell anything to them. But if you're in e-commerce, you're probably better off optimizing the technical aspects of your e-commerce to make sure you're not having duplication problems, that you're leveraging your categories and tags the best that you can, and that you are making all of your products very findable, right? So the very first thing would be find an objective, then identify your competitors and see what you need to do in your niche to do better than your competitors. Because at the end of the day, ranking, we have 10 spots in the first page, and we have to be better, be on the top
Absolutely.
10 of all of the people trying to rank for that query to actually make it to the first page. To do that, we need to understand what others are doing. And that's what I'd recommend as a first step, right? So if you go back to what I previously said about SEO being technical content and links, if you want to approach your market with that perspective and using that framework, try to understand what are your competitors doing and how do you compare to them in terms of technical, in terms of content, and in terms of links. Because it might be that you need only one of the three at the same time, or maybe just two, right? Or maybe you are top of the line in everything else and you need to work on your brand, not on SEO. It depends. I hate saying it depends in SEO. It's such a cliche.
But yeah, the industry is such, I mean, and it's there are so many different moving factors that come into play that you might not know what might work for you. So it's better to try out everything, but at the same time, you might not need everything.
Exactly.
Yeah. So another question that we get usually from our clients is whether we should build a SEO team in-house or should we outsource it to an agency? So what's your opinion on that?
It depends. So you've got pros and cons for each model, right? And you also have the consultancy
Let's do that.
model.
Let's make a pros and cons list.
Let's make a pros and cons list. So when you have your team in-house, you are bringing in-house the cost of SEO tools, right? So if you wanted to have the range of an agency in terms of SEO tools, you'd be like shelling out thousands of dollars every month to pay for your monitoring tools like Content King, to pay for your crawlers like Screaming Frog, to pay for your keyword research. They are not cheap. So you'd be like investing a significant amount, right? So a wider variety of tools is a good thing that an agency can bring. Another good thing that an agency can bring versus building your team in-house is a varied talent pool, right? So there's going to be someone in that agency somewhere that has done something with your competitors or something similar to your product, or knows about that very specific problem, that very rare problem that you have. Or maybe you have your platform, your shop on Shopify, and you need to fix a specific Shopify kink, or you have it on BigCommerce and someone's going to come in there and be like, yeah, I've done BigCommerce shops before. This is how you set it up. whatever. So that is an advantage that comes from working with agencies. But if you're working with agencies, typically you get a team that is not completely committed to your project, right? It's an outsourced team. Agencies work very much on a rinse and repeat approach that makes them more profitable. So if they can make a process into a very streamlined thing, they're going to like apply that. So it's not going to be fully personalized to you. It's not going to be a team fully dedicated to you, and they might not necessarily have a specific directed background that's perfect for your product, right? But
might not
you
be
scale
personalized
it up.
for your brand.
You scale it up, you scale it down. That is easy, and you get access to all of the nice tools. Then if you're building it in-house, you're making a very upfront investment in your team, but at the same time, they get to know your product deeply. They are able to effect change, because an agency in a big organization, they're not going to change much, right? They're going to be providing deliverables, but they're not the ones who are going to go to the CMO or the CEO and say, we've been doing this bit wrong, we need to change the tech stack. That requires deeper relationships. So there needs to be at least one person in the team that's going to take care of building those relationships and communicating those SEO changes to senior leadership. But you can't scale it back and down as easily as you can with an agency. You can't say, oh, I need a tech project. I don't have a tech person in-house. Let's use this budget for the tech project. Doesn't work like that. And the consultant model is a model that I have started appreciating more lately, right? So the consultant model, it's somewhat scalable because you're buying their time, right? They're freelancing for you. Likely they're going to have access to some of the tools because they're doing this. They're likely going to be highly skilled, highly specialized, very, very good at talking to senior leadership as well. But they become a single point of failure. So if anything goes wrong with your consultant, they take all of the knowledge and like take it away, and you've got nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think from
Good
the point of
consultants
view
wouldn't do it, but
no, from a point of view of sustainability for the long run, I think it is better to have someone in-house or at least a core team member to look over all the responsibilities with a good knowledge of SEO. That's amazing. And well, hey, if you need any virtual assistants, we are always there for you.
Oh my God, can I get budget for it?
Absolutely, we'll give you a nice offer as well.
Thank you.
Awesome. So we spoke about URLs and domain names earlier in this episode. So one more question I had in quite similar field. Many of our clients build websites on WordPress and Wix. So what are your thoughts on that? Are these websites or are these platforms really SEO friendly?
Yes. So I was having a beer with the CMO of a huge company that I can assure you have used. And he was just sitting down in this informal context, and he was like, I don't know why people spend so much on CMSs if the best CMS in the world is free, meaning WordPress, right?
Yeah.
I kind of agree. WordPress has many advantages. Some security concerns, I would say, but URLs are highly personalizable on WordPress if you just go on to the right section of the settings, which some of my recent clients haven't, but that's all right. It can be sorted out. I really think WordPress is an excellent starting point, and Wix have done such an amazing job lately with their SEO capabilities. They launched an SEO knowledge hub. They brought in some SEO processes. When you onboard onto their tool, they're like, be mindful of your URLs. Do this here, do this there. They're one of the best CMS to bring in like specific microdata markup and schema. So I absolutely love Wix. In fact, my website, my personal one is with Wix.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it is. with Wix.
Yeah.
Just because the team are doing such an amazing job. Also, they have one of the smartest SEOs for web performance optimization that I have ever met.
Yeah.
If he's listening, Nathaniel is amazing. I hope I didn't say his name wrong. And amazing. You don't need to spend a fortune on your CMS. You just need to know how to use it.
That's great. Well, the only reason I asked you this question was because we get many inquiries from our clients as well, suggesting that they've heard from people or there's a lot of gray area around this topic, whether WordPress and Wix especially is a good SEO friendly platform. So whoever asked the question, there you go. There's your answer. WordPress and Wix are one of the best platforms out there.
They are. They really are.
Thank you so much for your time once again, Lidia.
Of course, anytime.
Amazing having you on the show with us, and hopefully I come sometime to Manchester and we get to see the derby between Manchester United and City.
Oh my god, that would be amazing. But I will be cheering for City.
Yes, and I will be for United. Hopefully the tables turn then and United has a better performance compared to this season, which has been really bad. But once again, thank you so much for taking the time and sharing your knowledge with us.
Of course, it's been an absolute pleasure.